So one of the biggest things I did was I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I use that time to either pull oracle cards or journal or put my feet on the ground outside or one of my favorite things is to just close my eyes and ask the goddess, what do I need right now? What do I need to know right now? And then journal the messages that I get. And that really opened up the space for me to receive versus giving, 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 because I was over giving and under receiving.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. Have you ever been at work, at home, or maybe even in your car, totally lost in your thought? When suddenly you think, is this really my effing life? I know a lot of us have had that. I had a moment like that, though maybe not as extreme. For me, it was when I was in a quiet space and I was sitting there realizing that my kids leaving home was really creeping up on me. And I found myself wondering and questioning whether what I was doing with my time outside of being a mom was really what I wanted to be doing. And I was just like, hell no. That was my WTF moment. And many of us have those moments. But when it happens, are you prepared to move from the, is this really my effing life moment to inspired action? And I would venture to say most of us don't know what to do in that moment. But if you're ready to try and figure out what truly lights you up because you had your, is this my effing life moment, you are in the right place today because Beyond Empty Nest has a special guest that is perfect to share her thoughts around how to move from WTF to your most brilliant life. She actually says it's climbing out of darkness through sacred practice. My guest today is Lydia Mandell. She has always been a seeker and seen life through the lens of curiosity. As a therapist for over 25 years, she realized she wanted to help women explore their lives in greater depth. She loves holding space in women's circles, creating ceremonies, and dancing around a fire, and helping women reignite their wildness. And it was breath work that changed her life. And it changed her ability to be truly present within her body, leading her to become a breath work and embodiment coach for others. Lydia, I'm so happy to have you. Welcome to Beyond Empty Nest.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, this is great. Lydia and I met at a women's conference.
Yeah,
Something everybody needs to do in their lifetime. I'm just saying. But and I loved it. And we instantly connected and we've since collaborated with my double dares. And now you're here to share with our wider Beyond Emptiness audience, how they can maybe move from that. Is this my effing life? Is this really all there is? Is this really where I am to where they really want to be? But before we dive into that, you have your own story to tell. And this is what led us to saying, this has to be an episode. So share your story of how this happened to you.
Okay. So in 2021, unexpectedly, my brother passed away of a heart attack. And when that happened, he had been my parents' caregiver. And I have another brother who was deployed in Africa. And I was kind of like, oh my goodness, I'm in this middle of all this grief and also in the middle of like menopause, which, added a lot of like fun
Yes.
to that. And suddenly I had to care for these people who I didn't really have. I had not in the past had to be that present with them in this way. So I found myself helping them clean, helping them doing their laundry, doing their grocery shopping, really, really cutting back my therapy practice to almost nothing because I was with them constantly. They have a lot of health problems and I was taken to appointments and this and that. And I remember this moment where, and this is, I mean, it lasted a long time. So, where I just thought there's no help for me like this. And I was in their laundry room doing their laundry. It was hot. There's no air conditioning in there. And I remember standing there like just folding laundry and thinking, is this my effing life? Is this is how my life is going to be from now on? Because that's just not acceptable to me. And that was my moment to try to figure out, well, how am I going to shift this? And I had been I'm part of a spiritual community where it's based on divine feminine archetypes. And so we get together monthly and there are women's circles and we do things online, in person. And I had sort of moved away from that. I had also moved away from all my best practices. I was eating crap because I was so tired and I would feel like cooking. I wasn't taking care of my body. I had put on a bunch of weight. I was probably depressed, but not acknowledging it. And I found that there was a program available within that community about reclaiming your body and that sort of thing. And in the midst of that, I started returning to my own sacred practices that relate to that. So getting up every morning early, um, thinking about how my day is going to go, changing my own attitude from resentment um, to joy in places where I could.
So,
And
yeah,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you're making me think. No, I want you to finish. Go ahead, finish your thought if you want to.
Yeah, and so one of the biggest things I did was I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I use that time to either pull oracle cards or journal or put my feet on the ground outside or one of my favorite things is to just close my eyes and ask the goddess, what do I need right now? What do I need to know right now? And then journal the messages that I get. And that really opened up the space for me to receive versus giving, because I was over giving and under receiving.
I love that. I love, and sometimes we have sometimes we have to hit those moments of
Mhm,
the, oh my God, what the effing am I doing here? The WTF moments. And it's interesting because something that came into my mind is I had a guest, I believe it was all the way back on season one. So those of
mhm,
you listening, after you listen to this episode, go find the episode with Jill Scherer Murray.
mhm,
It's about letting go of what was to make room for what is. She's a letting go expert. She calls what happened to you and she calls what happened to me an epiphany.
mhm. Yeah,
Today we're calling it that WTF moment. Same
right.
thing, but she had an epiphany. And where you were in this laundry room, hot and sweaty and having this moment, she was on the
Mhm.
floor in a bathroom crying.
Yeah,
And we all have it somewhere. I was in just a quiet space all by myself, just like bored out of my mind, sitting there. So wherever you are, you can have a WTF moment anywhere. They should call them epiphanies. And then the other part of your story I liked is that you allowed yourself to have that moment, and then you shifted to become like the victor of your life. Like instead of the victim, I mean, we could
right.
also, you could, if you allow that, it's almost like I know I'm deviating here, but like, you talk, well, maybe that goes into external factors, don't define who you are. But what
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you is like, you could have made a choice to continue wallowing.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I think in that moment I thought I can't do this and I need help. And not always, I'm one of those like I got this girls, like I'm almost like okay, I'm going to figure this out myself. And what I did manage to do was get caregivers in place for my parents. And it also allowed me to experience my own grief because I had to just jump to take care of these people. And through this process of taking really good care of myself, my parents are actually taking better care of themselves. I mean,
Yes.
dad is pretty ill, but like he's doing the best he can. My mom is taking much better care of herself, and we have a much more positive relationship where they're saying, we really appreciate all you've done. You've really been helpful to us. We couldn't have done this. We couldn't have got to where we are without you. Thank you. And whereas in the beginning, I think everyone was wrapped up in their grief and also unable to and scared. I think they were scared they're going to say the wrong thing and I would just say see you later, which I
Right.
wouldn't do, but I mean it did feel like doing at times.
This
Yeah.
is this is a really important conversation. And even if this episode has to go longer, I want to have it because so many of us in this season of life,
Yeah.
we're the sandwich generation. We're caught between, if you have children, you're caught between your children
Mhm.
and your aging parents and what you want. You're in the middle of the sandwich. If you don't have children, you're still caught there because you
Yeah.
still want your own life. So you're the piece of bread, your parents are the piece of bread, and then there's muck
Yeah.
in the middle of that. It's
Mhm.
Nutella because Nutella is really yucky. I'm just saying. It's not wonderful peanut butter. It's Nutella. I'm sorry for the Nutella lovers. So I like how you said that because when you started to take care of yourself, when you started to understand that I need something, not just this, you probably the energy of that
Mhm.
had
Yeah.
to have helped your parents because it helped your parents to feel empowered and do better and finding a caregiver, getting, and you said it, I need help.
Right.
You had this epiphany, WTF moment. And the first step is, okay, I need help because we can't always do it ourselves, right, Lydia?
Right. And the amazing thing is the exact right caregiver showed up. He's a man. He takes care. My dad needs a lot of hands-on care, takes care of him. And he really enjoys my parents' company. So sometimes he's done with his shift and he hangs out. So he's become kind of like a friend and like, I don't know, they lost power. He came to their house at 9 o'clock and brought them flashlights because he lives down the
Oh,
street from them. So it's just very like he's very goes above and beyond in so many ways. And I think he truly loves them,
you
and
created the
really
space for
cares for
that.
them. And I created space for that by not being resentful of them because at the beginning I was thinking, hey, everybody, I'm grieving too. So, don't think this just happened to you. And so it
Yeah.
was sort of this mess of, and also menopause. And I also had another moment where, I know my husband had gone away to visit a friend, and I told my parents, I need 3 days where nobody calls me. And I literally sat in front of the fire in my house and just cried. And I let out everything that I hadn't let out. And I wrote down all the things I was letting go of and I burned them. And it was like a huge release for me. So getting back to those rituals and
Oh, well,
those,
no, we'll get to, yeah. And
yeah,
don't give too much away because I want to end with giving people real tangible rituals.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
of
no, I
course.
love that. Oh, I love that. I love how you talk. That's a boundary. You're like, I need 3 days, and you gave yourself 3 days to just cry and release and do. Oh, I love
Oh, yeah.
that. We're going to get back into that one.
Yeah.
All right. So you often talk about external factors, that external factors don't define who you are.
Mhm.
I think that kind of ties in, like, are you a victim or a victor of your life?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think you could say, "Oh my God, I have all this stuff put upon me." And I don't want to be put upon. I never want to be a victim. And I certainly felt like one, I think, but I also don't enjoy that role. And so I think in part, I didn't know what else to do. And I also thought that everything else would be really hard, like doing like, all this massive amounts of paperwork and things that I had to do to get all this systems in place. And I just thought like my brain doesn't work like that. I'm like creative and flowy and having to do all this administrative tasks and stuff. So when I was able to just say, all right, just sit down and do this stuff. You know how to do it. You'll figure, if you don't know, you'll figure it out. And somebody will tell you if you did it wrong. And it just kind of gave me the space to take myself like out of the equation in a way that felt good for me, not take myself out because I don't matter or I don't exist, but take myself out and say, all right, if I want to have a life, this is what I need to do for myself.
I love that. I love that. Oh, that's going to resonate. You're going to, this episode, this is why I love doing, this is why you love doing what you do. This is why I love doing what I do because the audience is going to hear your voice.
Mhm.
say what all of us on Beyond Emptiness talk about in a unique and different way that's going to resonate with them, especially as it relates to losing yourself in caring for others, because we need to do that. And I love this. You said this to me. You said you're allowed to shine your light even when it feels like your world has turned upside down.
Yeah.
Talk to the audience about that right now. Talk to
So,
the people listening.
so when I kind of made this shift and said, okay, I'm gonna do this, I did this program that was really about getting back in my body. So it was part ceremony, part nutrition, exercise, that kind of stuff. And I just started showing up. I would wear like my worst clothes to go over there because I thought I'll be cleaning and doing all these things. And I just started to wear nicer clothes. I started to be more open. I started to talk about good things in my life instead of just being in the misery, soup that was going on. And as I started to do that, the more I shined my light, the more they wanted more of that. And the more that our relationship, I honestly feel like because of all this happened, I have healed like like my entire relationship with my parents, but also in some of the lineages that I work with, we talk about how when you heal yourself, you heal 7 generations forward and backward. And I
Mm.
really feel that like I'm the one to do this, and I've shown up and done this. And I think the more I shined, the more they shined, and the more they gave themselves an opportunity to have more fun. Like I brought a game over. We played a game, like when it was my dad's 84th birthday the other day. So I just said, we're bringing over whatever you want for lunch. We're bringing games. He wanted an ice cream cake, and it got him like little treats. And it was really more like a kid's party at this point. But,
Yeah.
but bringing the fun actually feels felt much better than bringing, oh my God, I have to do this again today.
So it's like making the best of a not so great situation. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, no, I like that. It's like, and you can relate that to anything. Like that was your job at the time, and
Mm,
and like you said, I love that. So if you're right now not happy where you are, what can you do for yourself to
yeah.
have your light go from dim to bright? And I love just dressing better,
Yeah.
just not wearing
Change
the
your
scruffy,
clothes.
just dressing
Yeah.
a little bit better. You feel better about yourself. That happened during the pandemic. People started, wearing
Oh, yeah.
sweats, and I would wake up and I would like get dressed. When I started to get dressed again, I felt so much better about myself.
Yeah, I remember coming out of that because this also happened in 2021. So it was still COVID-y, but
Yeah.
not, people
Yeah.
were out in the world,
COVID,
but
yeah,
not as little COVID-y. And I was trying to get dressed and I said, I only have COVID clothes. That's all I have anymore because I was started working from home. I was doing therapy and I was working from home, so I didn't really have to get dressed up or anything. I didn't need office clothes, so I didn't have any more of those. I had put on so much weight that even if I did have them, they weren't going to fit me. And so when I started to think about like how do I want to present myself and how do I want to feel for myself, that's when everything really shifted for me. And I thought, what's going to feel really juicy and delicious to wear every day?
Oh,
What's going to make me feel good?
I love that. I love it. I went through, and I think a lot of people, I don't think, I know a lot of us went through they were gaining weight during COVID.
Oh God, yeah.
The eating and the drinking and the sitting and just like whatever the reason was for you, I was included in that. And
Hmm.
it's interesting because I would wake up in the morning and not want to get out of bed. And that was not a normal feeling for me of who I am, because I knew the reason I didn't want to get out of bed is because I knew even my Lululemons were tight.
Yeah,
And when you know that your leggings are tight, I what was I going to wear? I didn't want to get out of bed and look in my closet because nothing fit. And
right.
you said something really important, like, how do I want to feel? And it started with, I went out and I purchased a couple items of clothing that fit me then.
Hmm.
And you know what? I felt better. I felt better
Yeah,
about myself. And that started my getting my healthy back just by allowing myself to go out, like letting my light shine.
yeah,
For me, what you're saying is like, I went out, I bought 2 pairs of jeans that could button and I could feel good in. And it's amazing. We
right.
think we're not going to buy any clothes because, we're too big or it doesn't fit. And yet I always I told some friends this, I told a couple of my children, go buy clothes that fit you for now.
Yeah. I
Because you
have
want to
said
feel
that to
good.
people too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Otherwise,
that.
you just have a closet full of things that are just mocking you all day.
Yes.
Like
Right. So
every
how do
time
you, yeah,
you feel sad going to your closet, and
yeah.
somebody who was saying, "Oh, this dress I have doesn't fit anymore." I said, "Get a new dress."
So
Like
shine your
put on
light on
another.
yourself. Do something good for yourself to
Yeah.
boost you
Buy
up in that
yeah,
moment. Yeah, I love that.
a haircut, like whatever it is that makes you feel more like you. Maybe you're not the same person you were before. I'm certainly not the same person I was before that, is this my effing life moment?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not the same person. I'm a completely different person.
I know. I know. Isn't it fun? We could change
It
ourselves.
really
We
is.
can change. So okay, so let's end it with some ways, because the title of this is this really my effing life? Climbing out of darkness through sacred practice. And you've dropped a little bit of them. You talked about writing things down and burning things. You talked about waking up in the morning early. So I know you believe like starting a daily sacred practice can drastically improve your life. And it improves, you've proven it improves the lives of the people around you. So talk to people what you mean when you say a daily sacred practice, and then maybe give like 3 or 4
Sure.
ideas for what people can do.
Yeah. So daily sacred practice is really something that helps you get grounded for the day. Some people, if you have I mean, I get up at 5 o'clock, so I have plenty of time before I have to see a client or anything else. But, for some people, that's not realistic. So it's really when you have time, like some people who have kids will do it after they get their kids to school. So really just, whatever time is good for you. Everybody doesn't have to wake up at 5 o'clock. So don't
Thank
be scared.
you.
Yeah. And it's really about figuring out what grounds you. So I do a number of different things. Like some mornings I just sit outside and put my feet on the ground, my bare feet just touching the earth, because I feel like I need that deep connection to the earth, especially since I'm on Zoom a lot of the time.
Right.
Other things that can be really helpful are I love journaling. I love pulling a tarot card or an oracle card and just asking a question. It can be as simple as, what do I need to know today? And then you can always call on whatever your higher power is. Is it God? Is it the goddess? Is it the universe? And ask a question and see what comes in, because we are receivers. We are meant to receive. And when we put our energy out there, we're magnetizing back to us what we need. So asking, I ask the goddess, like, all right, I have this thing going on. What do I do? And then I receive information, I write it down. So that's another thing I love as a ritual. It doesn't have to be every day, but if there's something that you're ready to release, so maybe around the full moon is a great time to release it, is because the full moon is really about culmination, about completions, is to write the things that are no longer serving you that you would like to release. Put it in your fireplace. If you have a fire pit, you can put it in there. If you have a little cauldron, it's my cauldron. No, I have a little cauldron too. I thought it was here. It's not. But you could do it in there. But and say to yourself, I'm ready to release this. And make sure it's something you're really mindful about releasing, and you can just burn it. And there's something about burning it and sending it out to, or dumping the ashes back to the earth. So, the earth loves heavy energy. So if we are releasing things into the earth, that's also really good. So even sometimes I'll just take my hands and put my hands on the earth and say, here's what I'm releasing, and imagine that stuff is just flowing out of your hands.
I love that.
Meditation is great if you like to meditate. Some people listen to a meditation, sometimes some people do their own thing. And it could be as simple as just sitting outside and
Yes.
giving yourself the space to land, and or lighting a candle to signal, all right, this is my sacred time. Do whatever it is you do. Dancing is also really powerful. I love to dance in the morning sometimes to move energy and get myself grounded in my feet and ready for the day.
Well, so
And
since you brought it up,
yeah,
so wait, before we get into, because that you have a great there, but before we get there, you gave a lot of really good I like that you call them daily sacred practices. Um, you made me think of sometimes just sitting outside. I pull oracle cards too. Those who follow me know I pull oracle cards, and things have been amazingly in flow in my life and in my business, like really flowing.
Great.
And I pulled a card. I sat down on Tuesday after Labor Day, and I smudged, I cleared the energy in my office because there was so much going on here. And I do that every so often. And I sat down, I lit my candle, and I wrote in my journal what I wanted to write. And then I pulled an oracle card for myself. And I asked a specific, I said, I asked my specific message. And the message that came through that card was, basically it was mind your energy. Mind your energy, because things are happening, but you could get really depleted really quickly. It was an interesting message, because then what I also do every night, I have a nightly practice, a separate deck upstairs that I just pull. I'm like, what is the message that I need to go to sleep with tonight to take through tomorrow with me?
Right.
That was the same message I got from that card. So yesterday I was sitting down to do. I finished one thing, and then I said, you know what? I looked over there, my card. I got up and I just sat outside.
Yeah.
I love the sky. It was going to be sunset, and I just sat there and I looked at I said, what was the last time I sat here and just looked at my neighborhood, took in the beauty of where I am. And so I love how you said, sometimes it's just going outside and sitting and being,
Yeah, it could be that simple. Or I love to light a candle, like if you're going to do something indoors, to signify like that you're starting your sacred time, and then blowing out the candle to signify that you're done, so that it gives you a beginning and an end place. And also, one of the things that's most important is to make that time sacred for yourself. So let people in your house know, from this time to this time, if there are people around, this is my time, or get up before they do and do it.
I love that. Have a
Yeah.
daily sacred practice at a daily sacred time.
Yeah. And obviously, life happens, and if you can't get to it every single day, if you do it most days, it really makes a difference if you've taken really good care of yourself before you show up to do whatever kind of work you do, or whatever your daily, responsibilities are.
I love it. I love it. All right. So it's dare time. Dare. I love your dare. I love your dare. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, especially now that it's getting a little bit darker earlier, so that I won't want to be asleep when the sun's still up. So tell our listeners what their dare is.
So my dare for you is to dance in the moonlight. Wild abandon. Reclaiming your wildness. Just dance in the moonlight.
Dance in the moonlight. Unleash it like nobody's watching. I love it. I love that, Dara. You dropped a lot of really good nuggets, but I really love how you moved from the, oh my God, is this my effing life moment, to, and you felt all the emotions around it because you had a lot of them, to making small changes that had huge impact. And the first one being, I need help. And I love that. But there's so many good nuggets in here, Lydia. You've helped a lot of our listeners today, shift the focus back onto self-love, self-care, put it back in yourself, shine your light, because when you do, other people's lives get better. They just do.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect. It really is. Because if you're shining, people are attracted to that. They want more of that. And then they go, oh, well, maybe I can have a little bit of that.
Exactly. Maybe I can dance in the moonlight too. Okay, so dare to dance in the moonlight. And you know what I'm going to say next? Here's what I want to know. What was a ritual or something that Lydia shared today that you're like, okay, I can do this too? What was that moment for you? Let us know. You can shoot me an email. You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can leave it as a form of a review, just a comment. I don't know why they call it reviews, but just leave a comment. Whatever it is, we always want to hear how our show and our guests are making an impact in your lives, because I know that they are. And then stay tuned, because there'll be another new episode of Beyond Emptiness next week. And as I always say, dare on. Love this episode of Beyond Empty Nest? Head to jodysilverman.com for full show notes and more fun resources. Hey, are you feeling stuck? Like every day is just Groundhog Day? It's time to shake things up with my 30 doable dares. These simple, fun challenges will get you moving, boost your mood, and spark that sense of accomplishment that you've been craving. Doing something new can transform your mindset and build your confidence. Are you ready to dare yourself? Click the link in the show notes and start today. Let me know which dares you took action on so I can celebrate with you. Dare on.